What's up, bitches? Welcome to episode number 5 of Thors-Kin Podcast. We have been away for a while. I'm really sorry. My fault, really.
We've been Dragon Ball Z recharging. Been training in a white room for 5 years.
It's been my fault. I've been moving house and working as well. I've got a bit of time off now, but it has been really hard to align our schedules together so we can get a show done.
Yeah, real shit kind of takes over at some points, doesn't it? It's kind of sometimes moving house is a little bit more important than talking to little old me. Well, it's nothing personal, I understand.
Well, I'm giving my shoulders back and bollocks a rest this weekend for come out and actually we'll do a live show at Jimmy's house, which is not what we normally do.
We are live straight from the coffee table.
From a lounge in Telford.
Yeah, live yet totally pre-recorded. Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring you a bumper show this week, a bit longer. There's a lot happening in the games world that's really relevant, really new, and we want to bring it to you. So we're going to do a bit about that, and then we're going to talk about our week, if you guys wouldn't mind. So... yes. James, how are you, mate?
Oh
my god.
Oh, there's a dragon. Why did you say that again?
You crazy motherfucker.
There's a Jurassic Park game. Oh, I'm literally, that's it. I don't care about anything else. I can go home now. Well, I am home.
I did share the trailer on our Facebook page, and I've watched it about 18,000 times. So it's what's it called?
Jurassic Park Evolution.
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World Evolution. Yeah.
Get right, bitches. We don't want to get all these statistical analysts.
Actually, you'll find that it wasn't Jurassic Park.
Oh my god, though, it looks amazing, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. But anyway, before we get into the meat and potatoes, now it's been an interesting week. Glad to be sort of back at it. So yeah, bumper episode.
Actually,
like you said.
I've got so much shit to get off my chest. Yeah. Like, we're meant to be a calm, fun podcast, but I'm gonna shit all over.
It's gonna get real.
I've got so much shit to get off my chest. I really have. This is therapy for me, guys. Yeah.
No, it's so obviously I'm all about my gaming side of things. I like my movies, I like my comic books, but my passion is my games. So I tuned in tentatively to Gamescom. Because it was only really, I think, Xbox that were doing anything major there anyway. So everyone's tuning in, the whole Xbox community. So, follow a bunch of people on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. We're all there.
Yeah. Apart from me, living my life like an adult.
Doing real shit. Looking, wiping babies' asses. It was like Christmas Day, and then Xbox comes on, their live feed starts, and it's... boring as shit. Oh, they totally completely fucked up what Gamescom could have been. But I think maybe it's like a misunderstanding thing of what they were trying to put across as to what people were expecting. You can get really worked up about stuff and expect too much. Like if you're expecting something for Christmas and you don't get it, it's a shit Christmas, even though you got the next thing down from it.
Like getting a Dreamcast just before Sega go bust.
Kind of, yeah. So yeah, it was basically like getting a Dreamcast. It really was. There's so many people that be like, Dreamcast the best console ever, motherfucker. No, there was a couple of really decent takeaways though. Because a lot of what they showed was just the same trailers. Like we saw Forza again, and we saw a guy sit down and go, yes, there's the biggest collection of Lamborghinis, Porsches, and Ferraris in any racing game ever.
Wop, wop, wop.
And then, what else was there? There was loads of different stuff. All the same shit, really. The same State of Decay trailer. Loads of the same stuff. But I think maybe their second or third announcement, Julia Hardy, which was the blonde that was with Graham Boyd, who is their PR guy, was sat down... in like the Top Gear style crowd thing going on. And, in my best Julia Hardy voice, so here's a trailer for you.
You sold that to me.
Yeah, that's what she sounds like. She's like Jurassic World, and I was thinking, really?
Were you going back to the PlayStation one days where you got to play as the little compy, jump around and...
See, that's what I thought it was.
Eat dragonflies.
But then they showed you could tell straight away from the graphic because it was a bit more PC-esque. It was more sort of like a proper trailer, like overhead trailer. And when you saw the cursor come across, you knew exactly what it was. Oh my god. It's basically the spiritual successor to Jurassic Park Operation Genesis from the PS2. And that is basically one of my all-time favourite games. Because, like, me with gaming, like, everyone's got those pinnacle moments. And I've got quite a few, but one of them is when I had my PlayStation 2. We'll get onto this a little bit later as well, but part of that is Age of Empires, when Age of Empires 2 released. Yeah. Just had a freshly decorated room as a kid with a new console. Age of Empires 2 came out, and I was like, yeah! a bit later on, it was... I used to live in the country, so we had blue skies, brilliant long summers and everything. And being a geek, I used to waste those long summers indoors playing video games. But I used to look out and it was just beautiful scenery outside, mates coming around. It's just one of those nostalgic things.
Yeah.
And I picked up Spider-Man 2 and Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. I just discovered at the time Korn's album, what was it, that Freak on a Leash was on? Follow the Leader. It's just one of these nostalgic things of I always associate the three together. When I think of summers, I just think of Spider-Man and Operation Genesis and listening to Korn. And when I saw that, I was just like, all these memories came flooding back, and it was some of the best moments that I've had in gaming. Obviously, at the time, like... Operation Genesis now is like clunky as shit. You can't do anything with it. Spider-Man 2 at the
I used
time
to just like
was
releasing all the dinosaurs and watching them kill everyone.
Oh, yeah, but like just that nostalgic flood back of this is it. I'm set. Like they could my avatar on YouTube is a Halo guy. You know, it's me wearing Mjolnir armor or whatever it's called, and this is me saying this. Halo 6 could come out, and I would pick up Jurassic World Evolution before I picked up Halo 6.
Really?
Just because of the nostalgia factor, honestly.
And it took
one
me
of
by
those
surprise
games
as well. I didn't realise they were doing it. Was it something... Because you're more into this side of things. Was it something everybody knew?
Complete surprise. Everyone had leaked the Minecraft console. They've leaked... fuck you. That looks awesome. We'll get onto that in a minute. But they leaked everything, basically. But Jurassic Park was a complete surprise. So it had all the impact that you'd want it to have. I can't wait for this. I hope they go into full depth of it and they give you all of the options. You know, lots of dinosaurs, lots of buildings, full. I've downloaded it on my phone recently. You know, do you remember Roller Coaster Tycoon? How no game's ever gone to the depth.
I remember seeing
since.
it, but I've never played it. You know,
but yeah, you could do anything on it. Basically, you controlled every level of the park. I hope they do the same thing with this of taking it back old school and don't do like a Zoo Tycoon thing where it's like, yeah, we've got some animals for you, but they're preset enclosures, they're preset this, that, and the other. You just pick your combination of it.
I just hope that it. Because you don't see a lot of these games being made anymore. I hope that it brings on a new evolution for these type of games. I mean, I was looking at the graphics on this trailer and they look so fluid and so beautiful. Could you imagine like Command and Conquer, Theme Hospital, that sort of thing with them kind of graphics? I mean, I'm excited for this game, but I'm also excited for its legacy, what it's going
to bring on. That's kind of like an almost perfect segue into the next part, because the next day, like we can rewind and go back to all the shit that was on day one, but the next day they announced it was the Age of Empires thing.
Yeah.
They fucking smashed that, to be honest. They were all sat around, they had a crowd around them this time instead of being on couches. So it was like a Top Gear style show.
Yeah.
And everyone was hyped to fuck because they knew what they were getting. Everyone knew the Age of Empires Definitive Edition was coming out. It's basically 4K assets. They've added building destruction. It just looks. It's the same game, but looking how you'd expect it nowadays.
I find it like a sleeping ninja. You know, it's one of those games that's always been about. It's always. I mean, I know they've had a break, but people have always played Age of Empires as long as strategies have existed. You know, so. For it to suddenly awaken, and people to be suddenly like, "Oh my god, do you remember Age of Empires? We're going to get a new one."
So. It's going to be good. I mean, even I might pick it up, and I haven't done any PC gaming since. Like, do you remember Commandos? you ever play that?
Commandos
where you had the
so
guys
good.
and you clicked them
so
about
good,
and they had their
yeah.
different weapons and stuff. I haven't played PC gaming since then, really. No,
Yeah.
that's a complete lie. I played, for such a big Halo fan, I played Halo 1 Combat Evolved on PC first before I played on Xbox. But being big into it, it was, back when it was
My game
2D
at the
games
moment,
like
'cause
Commandos and shit.
my job, I'm lucky enough sometimes to be able to relax on my PC and stuff when it's quiet. And the game I used to play sort of last year was Total War.
Yeah.
I love Total War, and it was the Napoleon Total War. And if they could recreate those battle scenes like the way they did in Total War, with those graphics that they're on Jurassic Park,
this is the thing. This is what I was getting into. This is why I moved on to Age of Empires. Basically, so let's whiz through Age of Empires. They obviously talked loads about the definitive edition. Announced they're doing 2 and 3 definitive as well, and then they announced 4. All Windows 10 exclusive though. Everyone was expecting, because they kept hinting, big announcement. They didn't realise it was going to be number 4. Everyone thought it was going to be number 1 on Xbox, because they said they're working on things like mouse and keyboard support.
Oh, okay.
So everyone thought it was going to be, right, it's coming. This is it. We're getting all the PC side. This is going to be the floodgates opening, basically. And it wasn't. It was almost like they were locking them shut because they didn't announce it.
Well, this is where Jurassic World will play in, because if it prints money, which I think it will, it's going to do really well. Then they might turn around and say, "Well, actually, do you know what? We want a piece of that pie."
I think they should. I think they'd be stupid not to, because Age of Empires is one of those games that, it's on a different level to, in terms of blockbusterness of Halo and Gears and Forza and what Fable used to be. It's still got that brand recognition of all. Okay, it's the Geek Squad that, it's the Microsoft crew of Jewish looking beards back in the 80s, sort of wearing turtleneck sweaters. But do you know what I mean? It's still got that brand recognition. I think if they start doing that and they bring over, they'd need keyboard and mouse support to do it, unless they were very clever in how they did the controller setup. Which
they can do it. They've showed that they can do it before with previous games, Command and Conquer, for example.
Yeah, and Halo Wars.
Sims.
They can definitely do it.
Yeah. But so okay. There was a bit in the trailer as well. Did you notice? I'm not going to spoil a trailer. Yeah,
no,
okay.
It's a trailer. It's fucking spoil it.
There's that bit where the T-Rex breaks out of the paddock and the guy throws his fucking tablet at it. He's carrying a tablet, he throws the tablet at it, and he ends up getting fucked up by the T-Rex. I thought that was quite cool.
Stuff like that, though. I mean, I might be alone in this. When I've got like park builder games and stuff like that, I prefer the focus on like the guests and stuff, and looking after the guests and managing like the boring shit, like the fucking cash flows in the background. Like I get into it like I'm running my own little business. But it would be nice if they can blend that with the Hollywood moments of stuff breaking out and it being decent animations.
Yeah, and they look like they're gonna, like that bit where he's standing on the car and he's like,
stuff like that.
That's a terrible T-Rex, by the way.
That was more of a compy.
Yeah,
it's spastic compy.
That's probably what I'd be. Little rat if I was a dinosaur.
But no, I was excited, to be honest. Those were my big 2 takeaways from Gamescom, in terms of actual games themselves, and ironically both PC orientated style games.
Yeah.
So going back to what you were saying, is with like Total War and stuff, if these do start showing that there is a place on consoles for them, and if they just stop bitching about, why would I want a keyboard and mouse on my lap or on my TV? That's what I've got a PC for. It's like, just give people the options. Like, you don't have to make use of it.
And do you know what, right? With everything that's been going on with Rick and Morty lately, okay, listen to me, bear me out. I know you've never watched...
Segue of the year.
I know you don't really watch Rick and Morty, but I think you're well aware that Rick has got a portal gun and he can go to different dimensions and things.
Yeah.
How cool would it be to have like a park builder game where you've got to not just look after a park, but look after a certain dimension or versions of the town in different dimensions, and to create that sort of strategy game where you can go from dimension to dimension to make sure that everything's ticking over fine and nothing's fucking up. I think that'd be
interesting, because you look at games like what is it? I think it's Dishonored. I don't really follow the Dishonored games, but it's definitely a Bethesda game that they had like layers of different dimensions where you look through a glass and there's two worlds running at the same time, and it adds really interesting gameplay elements. So yeah.
Dan Harmon, if you're listening and you want to pick my brain and pay me some money, give me a shout. I'll help you out.
Oh, the phone's calling. Dan Harmon on the phone. Oh, that was quick. No.
Cease and assist.
But no, since then, a bunch of other stuff with the Gamescom side of things. I don't know if you've been following any stuff.
I have been carrying wardrobes up and downstairs. I haven't been able to have a chance, so this is your show.
What? Yeah, so this is like since then as well. There was a lot of back-scene stuff that is only getting reported on since. But a lot of the enhancements that are coming to the Xbox One are getting sort of put into, at the start of the generation, we had lots of Xbox versus PlayStation comparisons and pixel counting, and this one runs better than that and all that kind of stuff. The same thing's happening now, but in utter reverse. So Digital Foundry got backstage and were doing loads and loads of comparisons on certain things. Okay. I think they had about 10 different games. Right. And everything was just, long and short is, for $500, £450, it's an insane value, and it's delivering on all the promises. It's not a case of we've got a new console, let's try and squeeze you out of some money. It's a case of there is something else to be had out of these games. Here's some hardware that can deliver it. And now that it's finally cheap enough.
Because rather than going on what you think is going to happen, what you think is going to be able to deliver, they've put the science in, they put the time in, and they've done these comparisons. So it's a proven fact that the new Xbox is going to be great value for money, and that I appreciate that.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that obviously everything's being compared against the PS4 Pro at the moment. I mean, I've just picked up a PlayStation myself, and I'm enjoying the shit out of it. As far as the console war side of things go, I'll engage all day long with that and go back and forth. But the reality is that if I can enjoy a game, I'm going to enjoy it. So there is an element of, if you've already got this and let's say you're a PlayStation only guy, are you going to pay that extra to move over to Xbox to rebuy all of your games? But if you own both, or you only own an Xbox, it's such a fucking...
Then you're a smug motherfucker.
It's an absolute no-brainer, because you're just getting so much more out of it. The biggest sort of takeaway that I think I've noticed is their analysis on Tomb Raider. And I'm going to see if I can bring any up, actually, while I'm describing this to you, because basically they got hands on all of the Tomb Raider stuff and did comparisons on the PC. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to search for it at the same time. PC, the PS4 Pro, and the Xbox One X. And basically there is a huge difference between all of them. And I'm just sort of scrolling down here, 2 moments. Here we go. Obviously, people at home can't see this, but just to put this into comparison so that you get an idea of the differences, bearing in mind that the middle picture there is the souped-up version of the PlayStation Pro. That's a PC, and that's the Xbox One X.
And see, this shocks me because I've always played Xbox, but I do like PlayStations. It's just that I'm broke as a motherfucker, but I always thought that the PlayStation at times showed better quality and graphics in certain games. Now that picture there shows that Xbox One have made a huge advancement in their what they're going to be able to deliver.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to be with third-party stuff at the moment, because they are having a proper dry spell in games at the moment. Xbox are, with cancellations and delays and stuff.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that PlayStation have announced so many exclusives either. Whilst Xbox are going through this dry spell, like you say, PlayStation are like, well, guess what we've got? And we've got this, and we've got Spider-Man, and we've got this, that. Yeah. We've got Crash Bandicoot,
Well, again, that's coming to Xbox eventually, but, you're right, it's horses for courses, or whatever sort of phrase that you want to use for that kind of thing. Like, there's always going to be benefits, and that competition and back and forth is only ever a good thing. And that's not to have like a let's coexist sort of mentality about it. It's just a genuine thing. The more that one company pushes, that's going to put PlayStation on notice now of, okay, we've got a few games that, Horizon and Uncharted, that are pushing these graphics, but we need more.
And all this console wars thing absolutely aggravates the shit out of me, because I don't understand.
I love
No, like, hear me out, right? Okay, so you've got, say, Crash Bandicoot, for example, right? And you say, oh, do you know what, because you Xbox, you're going to miss out because I'm only going to release it on PlayStation. Why wouldn't you release it on Xbox and make money off them people as well? It really riles me, because I'm not going to go out and buy a PlayStation just for one game. I mean, I would like to, but I haven't got that kind of dough, and a lot of people don't.
But this is the thing, and this is why I've held out on getting one until recently.
Yeah.
While you've been moving house, I had a crazy lucky birthday weekend. I went out and got future-proofed for 4K. I got a 4K TV, a soundbar, and a PlayStation. Financed the fuck out of it, so I'm going to be poor paying it all back over the next 18 years.
You're going to see James standing on the street corners waving his knee at people.
I need to make £100 payment this month, please.
We love you long time.
But no, I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to... there's no... I didn't want to get an Xbox One X without a 4K TV, even though you do get all the benefits of the super sampling, so that you get the better graphics just downscaled to 1080p, just full HD. I didn't want to make a £500 $450 investment on something, and it's like scraping the icing off of your donut. Like, you just don't do it. Yeah. So you might as well just get it once you've got everything to go with it. So I figured, you know what, I'm getting a 4K TV. I might as well go and get myself a PlayStation at the same time if I'm paying something back. And that's great. There's a few games on there that are really, good looking and everything. But I think what's held me back so long so far is that there are certain things that I really despise about, I think, more Sony as a company in the way that they do certain business aspects. There's a lot of third-party stuff getting locked down, and I think of recent memory, I think, Rise of the Tomb Raider was one on Xbox. I think PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is one, again, something very similar.
Yeah.
But we don't see those games being locked out. They're more, except for those couple of examples, they're publishing deals of, we're going to make the game. Whereas a lot of stuff on the PlayStation is in a lot of case of, it's going to come over eventually. It's just, we're sort of buying you out of that deal. And that's what I don't like about the industry as a whole. I think third-party games should be third-party games. You've got your own studio, make your own games, and they're the ones that thrive. They're the Horizon Zero Dawns and the Uncharted. They're the Halos and the Gears and the Forzas. Yeah. But when you get things like Street Fighter V, Sony, that game wouldn't exist if Sony hadn't have published that with Capcom. That was, Street Fighter was dead. It wasn't happening. But it happened because someone paid for it. But it's a kind of thing of, going back to what you just said about why not release it on all the consoles, make more money. If Capcom had just funded that themselves, they would have had an extra, 30-40 million consoles to sell it on. It would have been a much better game, because I picked that up the other day, because I'm huge into my fighters. It's a pile of shit.
Not very good at them.
Fuck you.
I thrash your ass every time at Tekken. There was one night we were sat here drinking beers, and he fought with me, got to be 150 times.
Fuck off.
He didn't win a round, never mind a fight.
Fuck off. I kicked your ass in Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I did.
We're on
I was the guy
par.
with you couldn't get close. That guy with the spear that I was like, chong, 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 from 5 miles away.
I find them games quite similar. It's like Swamp Thing. Like, if you've ever played Injustice and you play Swamp Thing, he's got such a big reach, you can't get to him, and he's very similar to him. Yeah. I mean, we're on an even par, I think, with Mortal Kombat. I think is more good for us to play, because
I'm better at Mortal Kombat.
We'll have to deal with this.
I'm 10% better at Mortal Kombat.
Okay, we're about
clinically.
Okay, guys, we'll join us in a second when we.
Yeah, we're just going to play some fighting games.
No, going back to PlayStation now, I don't think I could deal with a controller. We had this talk. I came around yours the other day, right? And the reason being is the shape. I'm not too. I had a PlayStation as a kid. I used to go around to my dad's and we used to play with me and my brothers and stuff. And I get the nostalgia. And I'm not saying anything bad about PlayStation. Otherwise, I'm not going to sit here and hold something the same shape as a high heel shoe with the density of a bloody ice cream cone. You know, it's cheap, it's light, and I'm used to playing Xbox, and it fits into my hand better.
What I don't like is the Down syndrome triggers. No offense to any of our Down syndrome friends who listen, but the triggers look gormless. The share and the option buttons are flush on the controller as well, so you can't fucking press them. There's no tactile feel to them. You have to look to see where you press
and
it.
when you're tired, or when you've had a couple of beers or a long day at work, you
exactly.
Don't
and here's the thing as well: on my Xbox controller, when I'm fucking, you've got your analog sticks where they are, because your D-pad is to the right of your left thumb. If you need to reach across to while you're moving to change your weapon in Titanfall, for example, you can keep moving forward on the wall, and you can move your right thumb across to use the D-pad. You can't do that. It's little things like that. However, I'm getting used to it. It's not.
It wouldn't take me long.
It's not as bad as you think. Honestly, I'm holding it. Oh shit! Dropping it right now. It's all right. I prefer every time I go back to my Elite controller. I'm like, you know what? This is brilliant, but it's all right, to be perfectly honest.
And
it's manageable.
My buddy did. My friend Matt. Hi Matt. He did.
Fuck you, Matt. Spoiling fucking Walking Dead for me, motherfucker.
Anyway,
shout out to
Matt. He tagged me in a third-party controller that they're going to release, which is a PlayStation controller the same shape as an Xbox controller. I like that. I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, like modern Transformers compared to old Transformers, how they're blocky as fuck they used to be. This feels like they've gone like, oh, here's an Xbox controller, but retro from the 80s. Bandai Namco have created your controller for you. It's like they've done like the old Bumblebee of controllers. It looks blocky as shit. I don't know. I just don't think they can get their controllers right, to be honest.
I will get a PlayStation eventually. I do. Like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia there from when I was a kid. I mean,
yeah, like I've been saying, I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's fucking awesome.
And as well, while we're on gaming still, right? I was walking around Asda, Walmart if you're in America, and I was walking around with my little boy, and I looked up at the games, and I thought I'd have a quick gander. I thought, let's see how many games are out for Switch now. It's been out for a few weeks or months. There were 6 games on the shelf. 6 fucking games. Why spend so much money on a Switch when there are 6 games available, and one of them's the cheap, shitty party game that you get with
1-2 Switch. You leave 1-2 Switch out of this. You can milk cows in 1-2 Switch. Milking my virtual cow, motherfucker.
I don't understand Nintendo. Why launch a console when there are 6, 7, or you know?
You've always got to launch on a brand new console with few games. Got to understand that. But the problem is that each time that they release it, they have this mentality of they build their console around their input method. And this time their input method is the on-the-go little Joy-Con things, which dictates like what hardware they use, basically. And their hardware, because it refreshes integrally each time, they don't have any of the same chips. They don't have the backwards compatibility thing locked down. So you're starting your catalogue fresh each time. That's why they're doing these 0.5 consoles. That's why the X and the Pro exist. Yeah. Because you can take your games with you. And we're in a service-based world now. You can't go, great, you spent £1,000 with us. We're resetting you. Like, how would you like it? Like, if you've, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, but Netflix, for example, you've been paying for a year, and then they just go, oh, actually, we're starting
Netflix
fresh. Yeah, here's Netflix 2. There's none of the old series. We were showing episode 1 of Breaking Bad again. That's all we've got on there. You'd be like, fuck you.
Well, I've never played Zelda. I mean, I know that's bad, but I'm not a Nintendo guy. I mean, I really liked the Wii, and I've had some great drinking nights playing Mario Kart and Mario Party and things like that. But I'm not a big Nintendo guy, so I've never played Zelda. Never played. I used to play Mario a little bit, but I wouldn't go out on my way to play it.
Yeah,
it's all a bit bloop de bloop de blue for me. It's a bit not serious and.
So you would say Mario over Sonic? No, you say Sonic over Mario.
Sonic
rather.
over Mario any fucking day.
Have you played the new Sonic game?
No. I saw you put the.
Oh boy.
Yeah, good.
Oh yeah.
It's. Explain it to me then. The concept.
Okay, so Sonic Mania basically is as far as a Sonic game goes, it's like a 10 out of 10 for just. It's a perfect Sonic game.
A 10 out of 10, yeah?
Yeah, full on. I get the relevance. Yes, just what we were talking about before the podcast. We'll get into that probably a few weeks' time. So Sonic Mania is basically just... it's a new Sonic game in the old style, so it's pixelated, but it's clean.
Okay.
It's the old zones.
2D.
But 2D. It's the old zones, but redone. So they have basically 2 levels per zone, like Green Hill Zone,
the old days.
The underwater bit, the casino, all that kind of stuff. However, the first part... This is going to tar the level design with the same brush on each one. Everyone's different, but it's like the first part of the first zone is the same. Then it breaks off into something new, which is great. And then there's a boss at each one instead of only at the end of every second one. There's a boss at the end of each one, and then the second zone is this completely reimagined version of that level. So it ticks all of the nostalgia boxes, but it's something new.
Oh, okay.
So that you're not playing it. You think you press down, you tap A couple of times, you whiz round the loop thing, you jump off the thing, you bounce off the spring that you know is there, you go around the little twisty corkscrew bit, and you think, oh, I'm coming up to that next bit now. I know exactly what I'm doing. There's a fucking brick wall there, and you crash through buildings and into a special zone that was never there. And it's like, oh, okay, this is different. And that happens on each and every level. So it's fresh and it's new, and it takes you. It took me back to, do I want to put Sonic in? Do I want to put Sonic 2 in my cartridge on my Sega Mega Drive? Or do I want to put my Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and Shinobi Trio disc in? Do you know what I mean? That 3-in-1 cartridge. It took me straight back to being in
Sonic
school.
Was my shit, man. I had Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic Knuckles. I had Sonic Pinball for the I loved it. I did. But when I was younger, there was Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and then there was the black Sonic called Sonic Shadow. That was it, right? Now there's about 18 of them. There's a pink hedgehog. There's
Tails.
There's the big fucking thing, and and then there's a. I haven't aged with this. Yeah, I haven't.
He can go Super Saiyan now. Sonic can go Super Saiyan.
Oh, fuck off.
Do you know what? I had a dream when I was a kid when I think it was Sonic and Knuckles. Something just after then when they must have just introduced all like there was a green one, there was Super Sonic, there was all these ones, and I always remember my mate came round and traded Sonic for something else. He gave me a Sonic game, and I remember playing it once and having to give it back, and it was whichever one it had all these extra characters are in it or something like that. And I always thought it was a dream because I literally only played it once, and when it's so long back that you can't really remember it. And then all these years later, Sonic's still a thing. I have a look at all these characters, like, all the characters out of my dream. It was real. It's like he can go Super Saiyan. And there is a green version and a pink thing to go with him and stuff like that. But no, it's a really good game. And I think it's $15.99 our money. So I guess $19.99.
And it's good to go back sometimes. It's good to go back, isn't it?
And there's a price gauge for everything. Like I wouldn't pay full price for a game like that.
No,
but for what it is, if you want that fix, get it.
There was something I wanted to talk to you about actually, and it's about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Should we come back to that in 2 seconds? Let me just wrap this up 2 moments. There we go. I've done my super technical cutting off my recordings so we don't go. Remember when we lost all that shit? Yeah, I'm recording this shit in chunks now.
I think it's good that the listeners know that we do this as well, because if we are ever chunky and weird is because we've had to do it in segments. Before we recorded about an hour and a half episode. We've done it twice now, actually. Our first episode, we went an hour and a half, but only got like an hour. And then when we did our episode with Xbot, we lost a bit and we had to go back as well, didn't we?
Yeah, and that was the full initial. You know, when you have a conversation, the first time you're discussing some news, and it's all the passion, everything's there, and then you go home a few days later, your other mate asks you about it, and you
give half the story, half the passion,
exactly, and it's like the end show was like half of what it actually was when we were.
And we had some fucking
gutted.
I miss Xbot. I miss him.
No, it was good. It was. I'm glad he came on.
I've been dreaming about him. His Jonah Hill voice.
His Jonah Hill voice.
Anyway, I was about to talk to you about Mass Effect Andromeda. Okay.
Go.
I picked this up, and it was basically about how they're gonna add a lot of things online, but apparently the single player game was that badly bugged, everyone was annoyed at it.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they've decided now that they're doing nothing to the single player game. That's it. You got what you got. And people are going nuts about it.
Yeah, because Mass Effect was... Sorry, actually point myself at the mic, that would help. Mass Effect was one of my favourite games of all time.
Yeah.
When I played that the first time, I played from start to finish. And when the credits rolled, I literally put my controller down, took a deep breath, and I was like...
It's over.
Wow. Literally, I felt like I'd been part of a Star Wars epic.
Yeah.
And I was heartbroken with what happened to Andromeda. It was a good game. I played bits of the... obviously, you get like a... 10-hour trial on EA Access.
Mass Effect was something that I really want to play, but I've never been able to get my hands on it. Sorry, I've got a stiff leg. So I think it's going to be... Assassin's Creed was something I came into late, but I got them all in sequence and I played them all one by one, and I think I'd like to do that with Mass Effect.
Yeah, that might not be the best way to go about like a 10-year-old game. Number one is clunky as shit. It's alright going back to it, but it's clunky as shit.
Let me just stand up. Excuse me a second.
But yeah, so... I don't know what they're doing with the multiplayer or anything like that, but the fact that they're not going back anymore, they're almost... It's not that the game that we've got isn't good enough in Andromeda. It is a decent game. Yes, it was buggy, but it was a good game. It's the message that comes with it of, we are dropping this. And when you think it's the same people doing Anthem, it's almost like... They've gone, you know what, we're going to cut our losses. I think maybe it's an old franchise.
Oh, stiff as fuck. Moving house is really hard on your joints. Yeah, so do you think this is going to have a negative effect on future games in the Mass Effect?
I don't think we'll get another one.
You don't reckon, no?
Yeah, is it Casey Hudson who is the writer to it? The guy who did... 1, 2, and who's doing the story for Anthem. Basically, I think he wants to do something. He said that he's willing to work on it, but the reality is that the industry involves a lot more than one guy wanting to do something. It involves publishing deals, funding. I mean, he could kickstart it or something like that, but a game like that can't get relegated to crowdfunding. So. I don't know. I think it might just be Mass Effect is perhaps done.
Yeah, it says here BioWare and EA aren't happy with the game and they aren't about to sink any more time into the solo side of it. That doesn't mean Mass Effect is on its way out, though. While BioWare is shy about what will happen next, it only hopes to see you again in the next...
Yeah, the same thing is, like, not to get political, but that's the same kind of statement of... yeah, we hope we can survive outside of the EU Union.
Hopefully they make enough money on Battlefront and Anthem to have a bit of money spare to...
Anthem's gonna fucking print money.
Yeah, I hope so. It looks it.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't do what they did with Battlefront 1 and be like, look at this amazing game that you can have for the price of $70 or $50, whatever, and you can have all this stuff and then give you half a game. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
We'll lock the rest behind premium. Yeah. let's get back on track with what's it name? With what's actually been going on
Relevant. Yeah, I always do
recently.
this. I always do this.
No, we kind of went back into E3 mode then, didn't we? Talking
did,
about
yeah.
random shit. Crackdown 3. I'm gutted. Delayed
Yeah, I've seen that.
until next
I
year.
saw that.
Basically, it's if ever you've seen a tumbleweed GIF, that is basically Xbox's lineup this fall. It's Forza. There's what the fuck else is there?
Need for Speed.
That's not first person. No, the third part. The first party. Forza.
That's shit though.
You just brought that up to hate on it, didn't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'm getting at is with Crackdown 3's delay, it's kind of leaving Xbox's first party a little bit dry at a time where they should be doubling down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They should be coming out with a heavy hitter. They shouldn't be relying on, hey, we've got all of this huge amount of third party souped up games. It should be coming out with, here's a few killer apps to go with it. What, in your opinion, this is what I wanted to ask you, why I'm bringing it up, because people have done this to death. Like, Crackdown 3's delay is a little bit old news, but I wanted to ask you, if you could have a game delayed beyond sort of like what might seem reasonable, bear in mind we heard about this, I think, in mid-2014.
Yeah.
It's now at the end of 2017, and it's still a year away. Would you rather have know about a game for that long and deal with delay after delay? Would you rather deal with a cancellation like Scalebound, like Fable?
Well, I've dealt with both. I mean, I was waiting with anticipation for Silent Hill a couple of years ago, and they cancelled that, and it broke my heart because Silent Hill on a next generation console, I think, would be mind blowing. It would print money, and it would blow my mind, and they cancelled that. But at the same time, I've dealt with a game that was released early and buggy as fuck, and that was Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, so I would rather them take time and get the game right and have a buggy game or a cancellation, you know.
Yeah. I think, for me, what it highlights is the fact that, and I'm glad that both big companies are steering away from this now, is don't announce your games too early.
Well,
because shit happens, and it's just part of the ebb and flow of making this sort of media. It's just,
and that's the problem at the moment, is not just with movies but with games as well. Games and movies. I think people know so much about the inner workings of these things that news gets out, hype gets built up, that, you know, people get disappointed because of what they first heard. You know, all these things. I think, yeah, you're right. Announce these things later on when you know you've got a product to bring the people.
And that's what made me happy about. I said this a couple of weeks ago when we had Xbox on, when we did the E3 wrap up. Was Xbox had loads of games, but none that really interested me. There was a few in there that's like, I'm using this phrase a lot, but tarring it all with the same brush.
Yeah.
There was a few games in there that I really wanted, but all of the PlayStation stuff got my attention. Hence why, right in front of me, I own one now. Was the fact that we went more in depth to that kind of stuff. Now there was a lot of backlash when that happened. Of it's the same stuff, and I'm there. I'm straight there. How can you? It was literally a repeat of the year before. There was nothing extra this year that there wasn't last year. What that shows me, however, is one, maybe they don't have anything else lined up, which is a very bad thing, or that they're learning their lesson, just like Phil Spencer taking over with Microsoft is that, okay, yeah, he had Crackdown, Scalebound, Recore all announced early that he's got to deal with, because they're out now, they're out in the wild, but they're now keeping their hand close to their chest and trying to only announce things that are maybe 12 months out. I think that's a much better way to go about doing it, personally.
Either that, or they're Scrooge McDucking it with the pre-sales of the Xbox One X, and they're swimming in gold, drinking pink champagne, and enjoying life, and thinking, fuck you!
Well, looking at like their Twitter accounts and all the selfies and shit and all the holidays, yeah, I think they're doing that. Literally, they're just always fucking abroad and doing random shit. But no, I think delay wise, I mean, it's fucking shit.
If you've ever been a fan of a franchise as much as I was a fan of Assassin's Creed, and then you played Unity and screamed and shouted at the TV because your character won't stay in a fucking hay bale, you understand that, sometimes it's better to wait.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've had the same thing with, I'm a big Rick and Morty fan, as I've mentioned earlier, and we got made to wait for season 3. And I'm glad we waited because it's perfect in the new season we're going through right now. So, yeah, let's wait for it. Anything else? Got your...
No, I reckon, I mean, without going into all the details about the individual upgrades on all the Xbox One X games, this might not be the best sort of time to have a conversation about it, but I mean, we've got Hellblade and Uncharted DLC come out recently, but obviously you probably won't have that much of an opinion on those. No. Should we just
I'm
drop
about
that like a sack
as
of hot
excited
shit?
As fish at water. Ooh, more water. Look. Oh, more water.
Yeah, they look good. Hellblade looks pretty incredible.
What's Hellblade? Explain to me.
Hellblade is basically I always get these mixed up. Team Ninja or Ninja Theory or whatever they're called. Basically, it's like a AAA game at half the price, half the length. So they've got that polish that you'd expect, but in like a 6-hour experience.
Okay, all right.
And it's like half hack and slash, half psychological thriller, where you're again strong female lead, but you're struggling with mental issues. You are literally on the knife edge of going crazy, and you're dealing with that.
Being angry and not knowing why, wanting to eat chocolate and not know why, needing a cuddle but wanting to fight someone at the same time.
That's exactly what it's about.
Okay, Ninja PMS, let's do this.
Ninja PMS, that's what they should call it. No, but apparently it's amazing if you get a good set of headphones on and like they give you cues. You know how a lot of games pop up and it gives you like a HUD element of press A on such and such.
Oh,
it'll be
Tomb
like,
Raider. Fucking hell.
Instead of
press X now! Press X. Dead.
Instead of doing that, it will like whisper in your ear, turn around. And stuff like that. They take that like storytelling element to the next level, and it's like £25.
Okay, good.
So again, price balance of price range. Now I reckon that pretty much wraps up that. What do you want to do? I'm going to hand this back over to you. Do you want to move on to?
We've wrapped up this. That was our bumper section, by the way. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the gaming side of things. I think maybe we should talk about our week and what we've been up to and what's really, because I'm so angry about so many things this week. I need to rant.
Should we wrap this little bit up and start a new session?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so are we going to do this as a separate show or are we going to leave it on?
I reckon let's leave it on. Let's pretend like this is some sort of radio style skit in between. We're back after the break.
And we're back! Okay, this is still episode 5 and still Thors-Kin Podcast. And you're still with Alex and Jimmy. So we're just going to go into our week and kind of what we've been up to. I'm going to start with you, James, because I'm going to destroy this fucking mic in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, alright, so my week, I've kind of already hinted at earlier. I was a very lucky boy and got loads of new gadgets. And I've been chilling out. I've been playing on Horizon Zero Dawn, loving the shit out of that.
I did see you playing that. I popped around the other day, saw you playing that.
Yeah, sort of, like I said earlier, trying to get my grasp around the Down syndrome triggers and stuff like that. And
it looks like Fable on acid.
It's like, you know what it's like? I want to kind of, I don't want to get back into the gaming side of things straight away, but it's kind of like, no, it's not Fable at all. It's like Skyrim mixed with Mass Effect. It's like if the two of those had babies, like even when you search someone's inventory, it comes up with that sort of square block list of items that it has.
Yeah.
There's loads of little design elements. The conversation wheels. No, it's a really good game, but obviously it's a bit old, so I'm not going to get massively into it. But no, I've been playing that. Trying to. What are you going to smash first of all? Because I don't want to bring up something that you are about to go ham
on. Well, I recently watched Alien Covenant, and then last night I rewatched Assassin's Creed movie, and I kind of wanted to shit a lot on Alien Covenant and a little bit on Michael Fassbender.
Take it away.
So, right, okay. Let me explain to you, right? My youth was Alien. Okay, I love those films, Alien 1, 2, 3, and even Alien Resurrection. I know people don't like that, but because I was so caught up on the other three, I loved that, you know. So
you're a proper fan of the series, and it doesn't matter about how shit it was. It was the fact that it was Alien.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, compared to Alien versus Predator movies they've tried in the, after this, I think Alien Resurrection was damn sight more genuine than anything else they've created after that. The aliens looked like aliens and stuff, you know. The ships looked like the ships. They looked
wicked in Alien Resurrection, though. Like they had like raptor feet, didn't they?
Yeah, and there's that scene where they got them in the containment boxes, and they're hitting them with the steam and stuff, and the slime coming from. It looked really good, I thought. But okay,
it was just a shitly directed film overall, I think. Anyway, crack on. Fuck 'em up.
I liked Prometheus. Okay, I know people didn't like it. I really liked it. I thought they could really move on from this and really go in a direction that explains a lot. But it's also, I don't know, link up to Ripley or whatever else. They could have done so much with it. And instead they created a fucking mess. An absolute piece of steaming garbage. And I thought, you know, because I don't go by reviews, I don't go by hearsay, I go on how I feel, and I thought maybe a few of the bugs that I've heard about this movie I can put to one side and really enjoy it. And from the opening sequence I was worried, and I was worried about, you know, in Aliens, the way the words, like, they develop line by line.
Yeah.
I was worried about how the words were going to develop. I was watching and I was thinking, that A isn't going to look like an A in a second. Oh my God, that V, what's going on with that? I was worried by then, right? And then at the beginning of most Alien films, it shows you like a scene looking at a ship going through the dark, quiet space and that eerie sort of thing. And instead you got Michael Fassbender sat in a room having an awkward conversation with his creator. That was weird for me because he had an American accent. Now, after watching this and then watching Assassin's Creed last night, I realised Michael Fassbender, who's Irish normally,
he's usually Irish.
He's usually Irish. He needs to stop taking American talking roles because he can't. I think the more American he tries to sound, the stronger his Irish accent is.
Do you think he's going to play the Conor McGregor tribute film?
It wouldn't surprise me. Oh my God. And do you know what? I really liked Fassbender before. I liked him as Magneto, and I've seen him in films before, and I really rated him. But this has just got me hating the motherfucker. Okay, so. And then it goes from the opening sequence, and then you go to the ship. Now, I loved the ships, the technology, all the things around everyone in the Alien universe. The way the text scrolls up on the screen, you know, I loved all the pushy buttons and the flashing lights.
That was a really good impression, by the way.
Thank you. I'm here all week. There was none of that, and the tech seems more. It's a bit like Star Wars Episode 1. You know, all the tech seems more advanced there than it was in the future when Ripley was about, you know.
And can I make a point on that?
Yeah.
If Alien Isolation, the video game, can make such a good tribute to the old tech,
exactly, yeah,
why can a film not use that, make the effort to make that look? Okay, yeah, loads of time has passed. It's getting dusty and used and all that kind of stuff, which was the same reason as what George Lucas said about, you know, with the Star Wars trilogies, was it was supposed to be shiny and then afterwards it was supposed to be run down,
rustic and stuff. Yeah,
but still they don't seem to accept that. Can you do the impression again? That wasn't as good. Except for like little nostalgic points on there, they don't seem to make the same effort on the technology. It's like they've done the Prometheus level. Shiny is always better.
No,
but
okay, I'm gonna play James a video, and you're gonna hear it in the background. But I'm doing it. It's very unorthodox to do this during a podcast. But I want James to listen to this, and I want to get his reaction on the mic. Okay.
Should we? Do you want to hold it up to the mic so at least it's got some sort of chance? And if it's shit, I'll just edit it out.
Now this is a bit of a spoiler. Okay, so if you don't want this steaming piece of shit spoiled for you. You can turn off, but all it is basically you all know that Michael Fassbender plays an android. There's more than one of him, and he bumps into another version of himself. So he's talking to himself, okay? And there is a scene in it that I found more horrifying than the alien, okay? And it had me in pieces. Okay, I'm going to play this for you, okay?
You're on the show. Enough for the tip of your little finger. And blow into the hole gently. Like so. Watch me. I'll do the fingering. Go on.
Watch me, and I'll do the fingering. Go on.
Yeah, I remember when I saw it. I was lucky enough to have paid to go and see it in the cinema.
Oh, well done, you.
Well done, mate.
I was like, what the fuck? Okay.
Can I just say how amazing it is that just, relatively new podcast, if people listen in and just go straight to this, they've got what sounds like us practicing the recorder with lots of humming in the background.
That was just a weird scene. And then, okay, Fassbender leans into Fassbender, kisses him on the lips, and then stabs him in the throat. Okay, so I didn't know what to make of it. Yeah, and then so there was that scene, and then the first alien that's running around.
Yes, master.
Excuse me, that's my phone. That's what happens when my wife texts me. Put that on silent. The first alien that's running around. Okay, it's a human-coloured alien, and it has an asshole for a face. You remember this?
Yeah.
What an undignified way to die, to get eaten by a fucking asshole. I mean, I was just like, what's going on?
Prometheus lost me. As soon as... I get what they were trying to do, but as soon as there was an alien that wasn't just different because it came out of a different host, which is what I've always learned about Alien, the fact that it's going through stages of evolution before you got to an alien that can then reproduce differently. It's like that base alien, whichever version it ends up turning into that very first queen that we haven't technically... Well, I suppose we have seen it just now. Yeah. But that doesn't exist yet. Yeah. That proper alien isn't.
It's almost
there.
A symbiote, isn't it?
The alien, obviously, that we saw in this one, the one good bit about it, that bit on top of the ship where it's like writhing, like hissing at you, that was like, oh my, yes.
From the trailers I saw, what I thought I was going to get was another film where they're running and hiding, a bit like the game, I thought they were going to be similar to the game because the game did so well and people loved that game. I didn't finish that game because I shit myself, right?
I had to stop playing it.
Oh my god, it was so well done. And I thought we were going to get something like that, but do you know what? This film was Prometheus Point 2. It was exactly the same fucking film. People land on a planet, they struggle, they find aliens, they try and get off the planet. That's what happened in Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
So what?
Basically, all they did is they took 2.5 hours to wrap up a flashback.
Yeah, and I get that there was a lot of information. I mean, I got that Fassbender version 1.0. He's trying to create this beautiful being, and he sees these people come onto the planet as an opportunity to move things forward. And but I wanted an alien movie. I mean, there was a bit where there's the dark-haired girl, short dark-haired girl, running around with a dirty tank top on, with a weapon, chasing or running away from an alien, closing all the doors to make sure it doesn't get out. I get that, but I don't know. This movie fucking lost me. It didn't move the same way. I'm talking about the alien, I'm talking about the movie itself. It didn't move like an alien movie. And in some parts, the CGI was really fucking dodgy.
Yeah.
This broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. And Michael Fassbender can fuck off now. in my books, like, the next time I hear Fassbender taking up a big role, I get like this sometimes, and I got like this with Mark Wahlberg for a bit because he ruined Max Payne for me.
Yeah.
So like Fassbender's gonna have to do something really special. I mean, Wahlberg did Ted, which made me fall in love with him again. Oh, and the other guys, I liked him. Yeah. But no, Fassbender, he's ruined. He didn't ruin Assassin's Creed. He's just, his accent really annoyed me all the way through it. So yeah, it was a bit. Yeah, I'm not happy with it. I didn't quite ruin the mic. I held back a bit there, but I'm not happy.
You're not a happy man.
And then not just that, I've had to deal with that, and I also had to deal with the Defenders. Okay,
this is what I wanted to get into. What the fuck? What the actual fuck is going on with Defenders?
What an anti-climax!
I've not watched it all yet. I've watched.
I think I've watched episodes
4 or 5 episodes out of the 8.
Yeah. Episode 6 I've just finished. I think.
We might be up to the same.
No Wi-Fi in my house, so I can't catch up yet. But
it's I don't know. I didn't like Jessica. Everyone that I've spoke to about this, is there's almost like 2 schools of thought about it. People who love Jessica Jones and people who hate Jessica Jones.
I love Jessica Jones. She looks so hot. She's hot, but in like a really dirty way.
Do you mean in like she looks like Michael Jackson and she fiddles kids really dirty way?
More like she looks like she stinks, but she fucked good.
She looks like Michael Jackson. It's like
she can't help that though. She didn't. Michael Jackson looked like her.
Yeah, but
he didn't originally look like her.
Yeah, but what you find hot can help it.
Yeah, well,
you find Michael Jackson hot. That's fucked up.
Well, she can do what she likes, and I'll just beat it.
Oh,
sorry.
Zing.
No, but it's so fucking slow. I don't want to. This is going to be doing no spoilers, okay? Because people haven't watched it.
Yeah, we can't spoil this.
I mean, 8 episodes in. It's obviously that's only half of what we've got to come.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got to do at least 30, at least. So they'll probably drip feed us episodes now weekly. Once everybody's caught up.
Is that the way they're doing it, or are they?
I think so. 8 episodes is not enough, is it? It can't be.
I don't know. Might be.
And do you know what? Like, if you've watched Daredevil, you've watched Iron Fist, and you've watched you realise that this war is coming with the Hand, and everyone's talking about this war. Stick keeps banging on about this war. And do you know what? I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's just ready, steady, stop. You know, it's there's nothing happening, and more so that it was so slow that when they did start fighting and everyone was kicking ass, I was jumping up my bed. I was really excited. I was really happy. I was like a child again. But then it's just back to sitting around talking again.
Yeah,
it's all it seems to be. Let's go and sit in a Chinese restaurant and sit around and talk.
And I think the difference between the movies, they can get away with it. You can have, because there's action in a movie as well. You know how you can have like a Captain America Winter Soldier that is dark, depressing.
Yeah.
It deals with death. It deals with depression and being outcast and all of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You can have a standalone movie, i.e. a standalone series like your Daredevil, like your Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. But when you stick them all together, you've kind of got to understand that those individual series should have fed into a culmination of action and given people what they want. Because I guarantee you that if anyone says, oh, the Defenders, what do you expect from that? No one says, oh, deeper understanding of the stories on each of the characters. No, we've had a fucking season of all of these spread over years now.
Yeah.
Like...
And you know what? I think they've missed out on adding like some comedic effect, some that comic relief sort of character, and I think they could have done that with Iron Fist. He's so fucking dumb, he's so stupid, this kid, and he's so miserable, and he's whinging about all the, And I want someone almost Spider-Man like, kind of cracking jokes, kind of having a bit of fun with it as well. Someone who enjoys their power, that isn't so depressed because they've got to do...
They don't like to be burdened with the responsibility. That's the problem. They all have that the Tobey Maguire syndrome of they don't want to be burdened with what comes with being a superhero.
It's just miserable, isn't it? It is just miserable. And if I've said to you before on the podcast how perfect Daredevil was, both seasons 1 and 2. I loved it, and I loved that it was dark, and I loved that it was violent, and I loved that it was gritty and it was really tense. But they're just doing a lot of talking, and then they dropped the trailer for Punisher, which is even more depressing and even more miserable. Him smashed gun old John Wick on the fucking pavement, hitting things with a sledgehammer. Like, I want someone that enjoys their powers, and I get that.
Going John Wick on it, like he's trying to dig up his guns.
That's what it looks like to me. It's like, oh, do you know that scene out of John Wick? I want that.
I got that down there.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that, I think, on 4K. I'm going to see what that's like.
Is it John Wick 2? Or just
apparently it's beast the shit out of the 4K. So, yeah.
It's John Wick 2 follows on from John Wick in a brilliant way. It's not... There are bits that really... I'm not going to spoil it for you. And watch it and we'll talk about it next week. Okay?
Again, I'd fucking jackknife that conversation.
And as well, I'm just reading my notes now. There's a bit that really annoys me in Defenders. You know how every character seems to have a different filter on the camera. So like Luke Cage is like an orange glow sort of, oh yeah, welcome to the hood, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones is kind of really blue, and Daredevil has that really dark grey type thing. So every time it goes to a different character, it just changed the filter for them, and I'm just thinking, what?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like they almost shot those series at the same time that they shot those scenes at the same time they shot the series, and then they had the bits where they're all together is in like a white light lit skyscraper, and it's like, oh, we've just filmed this bit. And
do you know what, it hurts me to say something negative about this, because like I say, I've loved... People complained about Iron Fist. I enjoyed it.
Oh, that was my favourite one.
Luke Cage let me down towards the end.
They had to rewrite that.
They had to rewrite it, and that I understand that, but it was upsetting, because the first beginning of Luke Cage was stunning. I thought.
Yeah, it was. And I think Cottonmouth is wicked.
What a guy!
Iron Fist to me got me intrigued the most, because it had that balance between fighting and the espionage thing going on.
Yeah.
Luke Cage had a lot of that espionage thing going on, but it was like proper, like it was in like a ghetto sort of
I like the way
all the time.
He's like, all right, there's a room full of armed guys, fuck it, let's just go, and he just bursts in like,
smashes the fuck out of them.
I love that, and like they made him look weak as fuck towards the end, and that really got to me. After Defenders and after Punishers, the Punisher, try that again, has done depressing everyone. Where do you think they can go with it? You reckon they're just going to carry on with these 5 characters, or do you reckon they're going to add more?
They've got loads of places they can go with it.
Let's rewrite the question. Where would you like it to go?
Where would I like it to go? I would like it to go to a place that was a lot more action orientated. Maybe there was a couple of... Split the characters up, so you've got Daredevil and Elektra. Obviously, I don't know what's going on with Defenders and stuff. I don't want... Fuck it. I haven't seen it all. She might be fucking dead. I don't care. I don't know. No idea. But if she's still alive, I want Daredevil and Elektra to get their shit together and start being the team that they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I want that to be a... go back to being Daredevil. I think that should be the street level, out in the night, knocking the shit out of people's jaws sort of thing, with the lawyers in the background. That can continue. I think I'm figuring this out in my head as I'm explaining this. All of their stories could continue, but I think they should just go deeper into their own stories. I think I'd love to see Iron Fist go out to, obviously he went to Kunlun at the end of the series, but somewhere like that, rebuild and all of that kind of stuff. Have him follow that line of he's in the Himalayas.
And give him a fucking bandana to wear, please.
Exactly. How good was it when Daredevil put his suit back on and he wasn't in his suit and tie anymore? It was like, boom,
give
we're
these
here.
people like Punisher. He's got the skull on his body armor and stuff like that. You can look at that and think that is Punisher. That's like, I love Iron Fist. I love his yellow bandana and all that stuff. They need to get it back to where it should be. I've heard rumours that they might be looking for someone to cast as Blade. I don't know if you've heard this. There are rumours in the geek sphere. Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I think going back to sort of go deeper into what you asked me, because I don't want to just skip over it without going,
carrying on about it.
Yeah. Sort of I would like to see them, and they're not going to do this, but some series like John Wick, for example, could have quite easily been Jack Reacher, but he wasn't. It was John Wick.
Yeah.
They took him to the next level. They made him badass.
Yeah.
I want them to make these characters less Jack Reacher and more John Wick. I want them to be like, you know what? Daredevil's a fucking badass. Luke Cage can just march through there and just smash the shit out of people. Iron Fist isn't just a crybaby. He's a fucking martial arts expert.
Dumbass.
And Jessica Jones isn't just this Michael Jackson looking motherfucker. She's really good at finding stuff out. And I want them to just have this really clever push forward through each episode rather than
I think they should
look sideways at each one. It seems like every hour that you watch is an hour of drawn out sort of like they've got 4 sections to it and they all come together at the end of each one. And it's like, no, stop fleshing out the story so much and just fucking plow through it.
Yeah.
Make it cool and action orientated and put these people in these blockbuster moments. And again, it's TV. They've got less of a budget than films. But I think they could, going back to that sort of analogy, they need to go less Jack Reacher and more John Wick with it.
Yeah. I think bringing some of the Marvel Knights into it might excite me for sure. And I do think they need to do away with the hand as well. Let's just kill them.
Yeah.
Let's leave them hanging on the Empire State Building. I don't know.
Hopefully that's what Defenders does. Hopefully Defenders this season wraps that up so that the season 2s and 3s of all their individual things can go back to being like, okay, what's next?
Well, you know, like the Avengers had one. They had Ultron to fight at one point, or in the games, in Justice games, they had the Justice League and whoever else fighting Brainiac. You know,
Yeah.
Have a super villain, like have someone like Joker-esque, someone that will cause chaos on the city.
Instead of 5 people,
And that's where
led
I
by
think-
Ripley that you don't give a shit about.
And that's where I think Wilson Fisk should come in, because I loved having him about, and not seeing him is a bit strange for me. And I do think, like, everybody knows, if you into these things, that Kingpin has the potential to cause a lot of chaos, and he always has done in the comic books. But I would like someone with superpowers, you know.
Yeah.
So I want throw one of the Sinister Six in. Fuck it, do it. I'm begging them just to throw someone from the MCU into Daredevil and into all this Defender shit. Just one episode. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it'd look cool, and it would make some money as well.
That being said as well, just to wrap this up, I think they need to just pull the finger out and just sign the check and get a Tony Stark cameo.
Yeah.
Or Thor just to come down and just be like, I'm on my way to go do some superheroing. I just thought I'd come down here and just save your asses. Do you know what I mean? Like, write it in properly so it's not just, well, that was convenient.
Well, Tom Holland is an up and coming actor. I'm sure you could throw him a tenner and say, do you know what?
Some pocket money.
Yeah, just say,
go buy yourself a pick of it.
Well, today, Tom, we're going to be doing it. And I know they've said, the developers have said they've run parallel with each other.
Yeah.
And they'll never cross paths. But they also, with Arrow, Flash, and what have you, when Constantine ended, which was run by Amazon, they said that Constantine will never be in Arrow. And then they did an episode with Constantine in it. They realised that that's what the fans wanted. Give us what we want, Marvel. Stop being dicks. Yeah. So, but let's move on from that, because we could talk about that all fucking day.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add, I need you to watch something on Netflix called Glow.
Okay.
I'm not going to go on too much about it. All I'm going to say is it's fabulous. It's fabulous. Okay. It's been out for a couple of months now. It's not new, but it's something I just picked up, and it's set in like the late 80s, and it's about an actress who's looking for work and can't seem to get a job, but she seems to land the role in the Glorious League of Women Wrestlers, or something, it's called. And basically the wrestlers, and it's like the old style Hulk Hogan, where they're all characters and stuff like that. And it's about this guy who's a coke sniffing, whiskey swilling, fucking womanizing piece of shit who's trying to create this show. He's a nice guy, but he's set in the 80s, He's obviously, and and it's about them trying to get the show together, and stereotypes were different back then, you know.
Yeah.
So women weren't expected to do shit like that. So, but there's nudity in it. There's comedy. There's wrestling scenes, obviously, and there's a lot of drama and things. I would. I think you and your missus would enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that.
Cool. I'm just seeing here whether this is true. I'm just scrolling down Twitter again. Jackknife the conversation. 350 million Mayweather made last night. Obviously, a few nights ago for when this actually goes out.
The fight, the McGregor Mayweather fight.
350 million.
We were talking about this earlier, and I was saying I like Conor McGregor. I always have done. I like him as a spokesperson for UFC, and I've seen how nice he is with his fans. But I'm kind of glad he lost last night, because I get that he's hyped up the fight, and they've had to do these press conferences where it's a bit over the top and things like this. But he has gone out and said he is boxing, and Mayweather's nothing. He's got a peanut head, as he says. All this shit.
He's got a peanut head.
He kind of took it a bit too far. And now he's rich now. Don't get me wrong.
He was rich before.
Yeah, but now he's made of a dick of himself, really.
Well, it's stuff like that. I mean, all of that is over flamboyancy just to get into people's heads. That is just part of the show. I don't think that necessarily reflects him. I think that reflects his understanding of how to manipulate the industry, because he has got people wrapped around his little finger and he knows it. And I think if you sort of look at the way he is in public as a reflection of him and stuff like that, I think it's oversimplifying how much he knows about the industry. He's clued up to it.
One of my metaphors again. Here we go. A bricklayer isn't going to give a plumber shit about his job, not knowing much about it, is he? You know. So if you're an octagon fighter in UFC, stick to your trade. Yeah, he's the king of UFC. No one can really deny that. Mayweather is the king of boxing. Don't shout about someone's Mayweather is a dick. I don't really like him. He's a money grabber, but he is a hell of a fighter, right? Yeah. And you can't go to the best fighter in the world and call him out. You can't.
Yeah, but if you're a bricklayer and your plumber buddy says, I'm ill today, can you come in and I'll give you a year's wages to fit this one section under the sink, you'd do it, wouldn't you? It's about the money.
It's about, but your reputation at the end of the day. You know, you're going to go and put those pipes on all wrong, aren't you? And it's going to cause a leak, and no one's going to want you to ever do anything again. Never mind.
Are we rolling with this pipe metaphor?
At least I'm not comparing him to an impressive yet flaccid penis like I did with Microsoft. Let's leave that one behind. Okay, let's move away from that, because I've already put a comment on Facebook today, and it already got a lot of negativity. So the more I talk, the more shit we're gonna get. I'm afraid. I'm Irish. I love McGregor, and I always want him to do well, but I just feel like he kind of deserved the hiding. He didn't get a hiding. He did really well, from what I've heard.
Oh yeah,
he did really well. But he kind of deserves. He needs to show a bit more respect, I think, in that regards. And I don't think you can deny that. I wanted to get back on the geeky side of things, right? Okay.
Can we not talk about sports?
Yeah, let's not talk about sports. We're going to talk about the
sports
DCEU, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of room.
Does that even exist? What is it?
Don't do that to me.
Doesn't exist.
The extended universe.
It doesn't even exist. Don't even know what you're on about.
Anyway, so there's all these rumours going on about Joker movies here, left, right, and centre. They're meant to have signed Jared Leto up for Suicide Squad 2 and Sirens. I agree with you.
All I'm doing, I'm just trying to get you wound up, just so that you explode.
We both agreed with each other about the Suicide Squad, how shit it was. Everyone loves it, but all it was for me was a bunch of guys posing down an alleyway and a girl smashing a window for a handbag, and a helicopter miraculously falling out of a fucking the sky, and Cara Delevingne doing fucking sour pussy ass face whilst waving shit around in the air and taking mushrooms. I don't fucking know. It was an awful movie, and then they're going to make the sequel. Sirens, I like the idea of. That's you're going to be. I think it's going to be Catwoman, Ivy, and Harley Quinn. That sounds like a good
Here's
concept.
a question: Who? So Harley Quinn, obviously, we know who's
Margot
playing that.
Robbie.
Right? Who plays? We need to get this like Charlie's Angels level hot. Who plays Catwoman and Ivy?
Okay, Catwoman.
Have they got people lined up for this?
Have a look. I'm going to go on IMDb now.
This better be a good list of people. If it's actual, if they've been cast and they're munters, I'm not going to be happy.
So it's Gotham City Sirens. All you've got signed up now is...
I saw Jared Leto with long hair. I was like, who's that ugly motherfucker playing Catwoman?
All they've got is Margot Robbie and Jared Leto. Now, okay, I'm just going to... Don't look at what I'm looking for. I'm just trying to find... Okay, so there's a woman called Jessica Chastain.
Oh, yeah.
Look at her.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Perfect Ivy, that is.
Perfect Ivy. Yeah, that's fine.
Jessica Chastain was in The Martian. Beautiful red hair.
Or the one who... She is something Evangeline. She is the elf woman in The New Hobbit. And she was the person in Jurassic World. The one that can run away from a T-Rex.
She looks like Gwyneth Paltrow, yeah.
Oh, no, she's hot. I reckon she's hot.
I don't know who...
For a ginger.
Who would play a good Catwoman? Obviously, no Kate Beckinsale. Oh, fuck that. I don't know. I'll have to come back to you with that one.
Yeah.
For a good Catwoman.
Well, should we do a sexist cast? And we'll just like...
talk about...
Just which are the hottest actors to play stuff.
Either way, I'm up for a Sirens, a Gotham City Sirens movie. I think that'd be really good. But there's a... These are all rumours, by the way, okay? So none of these movies might not even make it to production. They're meant to be making a Joker, Harley Quinn romance movie, okay? And I've just seen the post on Facebook. I'm doing the whole fanboy thing, having a rant. It could be nothing. But all I'm going to say is Joker and Harley Quinn don't have a romance, okay? It is an abusive relationship, and people get caught up on this shit, and they're like, "Oh my god, you can be the Joker to my Harley Quinn," and I'm thinking, "You really don't want that. You really fucking don't want that." Like Harley Quinn is Joker's possession. Okay, he picks her up and puts her down whenever he feels like it. He controls her, and it's not a relationship that we want.
How many times has he tried to kill her?
God, it's just ridiculous. Why did you want a whole movie of this? I don't understand.
I think what happened was the best bits in Suicide Squad were the bits where half of the cast wasn't in it, and it was just the flashbacks between them two. And I think a lot of people were like, must have hit forums and stuff like that wherever DC and Warner Brothers were.
I reckon
watching, and noticed a lot of people going, "Oh, these were the best bits. These were, we want this, we want that," and gone, "Oh yeah, well, screw it, we'll make a film of it," or it's complete bullshit.
And this is where Warner Brothers need to come in and wave away the rumours and just announce what they... I mean, IMDb is a bit like Wikipedia. You can put your own information on there. So it says there's a Gotham City Sirens film coming up, but anybody could have put that up. But it could be that the Sirens movie is going to be the Joker Harley Quinn movie. It's just one movie, but there's two different storylines going on at the same time.
Quite possibly. I mean, I think a Joker Harley Quinn romance movie, I would rather see Killer Croc romance. Like, that's
so
how much
much
interest I have in this.
There is so much you can do with DC. Right, okay, I like the Joker. I actually liked Jared Leto as the Joker. I didn't get much screen time, which means people don't realise that's why they're hating on him, because all they got to see was like 5 minutes of him. But I think there are so much you can do. Like you said, there's Killer Croc, there's Penguin, do the Long Halloween. The Long Halloween as a movie wouldn't be very action filled, but I would love it. And it's basically the story of how Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face in this story. It's an amazing comic book, and it would go onto screen so fucking well. And they need to do it. Even if they did it in an animated movie, I'd watch it in an animated movie, because some of my favourite movies are the DC animated movies, and you need to watch some of these, by the way. We should do this. We should have a few beers one night, get some DC animated movies on, and then we'll do a show the next day on how you enjoyed it.
Cool. I'm up for that.
Are you getting nervous about the time on that?
Butt's clenching a little bit. Shall we see if it saves?
Yeah, well, I want to do a bit about Scorsese's Batman Joker thing. We'll do it on the next section.
Shall I do my sound effect?
Yeah, go on.
You ready?
Ready? Yeah.
And we're back.
I've got itchy balls. Okay, so Scorsese has been given the license to make a Joker Origins movie. Now, this has got people talking. Again, it could be a rumour. I can't see Scorsese doing something like this. But the couple of rumours surrounding this rumour are, A, that he's not going to use Jared Leto. So is this part of the current movies we're getting right now? Because I don't think it's going to be.
And it's backed up by the fact that Batman is not part of the universe as well. The Batman is not part of the tie-in.
I don't get what's going on, and this is where Warner Brothers need to, because it's all Warner Brothers, it's all under the same fucking blanket. They need to.
If you're going to start going down this path where you're going to try and do a Marvel and tie it all in together, and then you throw a couple of key films in there that people are actually interested in, Batman standalone film and an Origins of the Joker film, that's, to me, they are bigger than Batman versus Superman or Justice League or anything like that tie in together.
It could,
in terms of individual. Just 90 minutes of your life, which ones are probably going to be better? Those two films stand the chance of being the biggest.
I think Affleck is a hell of a Batman. I think he did really, really well. And in fact, the Justice League movie, I thought his performance would stand out compared to everyone else's. The way he moves, talks, I loved it. So to do that would be an absolute shame. But a Joker Origins movie would break my heart. I love the Joker and the fact that he's a mystery. No one knows his actual name. No one knows where he.
It depends how you tackle it, though. You don't need to find out who he is.
I don't want to.
If it comes in 2 minutes after his first sighting, and people trying to find out who he is, and seeing that first crime spree of this is how we went from I'm going to be the Joker to going from that to I'm going to be some crazy messed up motherfucker Joker. He could still go on a journey even after he becomes the Joker.
Well, if you've ever read or watched the Killing Joke, it basically explains how it basically has the worst day anyone could have.
Yeah.
And he gets pushed into a vat of acid and he just goes completely nuts.
Yeah.
So you've got a bit of insight there to how he becomes a Joker, and the guy does have a bad day, but it's no excuse to go around killing people and whatever. But nobody actually knows his name or where is
who he actually is.
If there's any relevance between him and Bruce Wayne, I mean, it could be that he's just a nobody, but I like that. It's something that's run on through the Batman comics for generations.
I think would be crazy is if it was his dad.
Oh no!
Can you imagine something if they chose to do something as crazy?
Flash has grabbed him from a different dimension.
Yeah, something mental like that. I reckon it stands a chance of being amazing. Those two, but my input into it is why the Joker thing can be standalone. I get that. How is the Batman not part of the universe?
It's got to be.
It's not though. It's a standalone story, apparently.
Yeah, well, we're yet to see, and I'd be pissed off if they do that. I mean, I'd still watch it. There's. I don't mind. I mean, if you watch the animated movies, and there's lots of them, they don't run in sequence, and there's different versions of Batman. But I mean, you get in Flashpoint Paradox, you get to see Thomas Wayne Batman, which is he's badass. I'd love to see him on a live version movie.
The problem you have though is that these films aren't animated films. They're not comic books.
They can't knock them out.
Too many people are invested in this at this point in time, as in real life now, and they've spent so long building up the Justice League that. And one of my big problems with Batman vs Superman was that I didn't care for the characters behind it. I could not give a shit about either of them, because if it was Christian Bale there and we'd been through all of that stuff with him in the last 3 films,
Yeah, I get you.
At least you'd care about his character, and obviously Heath Ledger's not with us anymore, but like that Joker, and you'd care about that Liam Neeson dude, I can't remember his name. But when you refresh that and stick everyone together, it's like turning up to a party where you don't know anyone. Like, you've got to either get drunk real quick or you're going to have a shit time. And my problem is that their build-up and the areas that they're fleshing out, they did Wonder Woman fantastically. But if they then take Batman, who is that glue that holds them all together, and they don't link him in, then I think everything from there is going to be like, well...
And it did confuse me, actually. It did confuse me because as much as I love Dawn of Justice, I do, and I've said that before on the podcast, it really puzzled me why they'd start from there, because it's a real long time into Batman's chronology, just to start, you know. So, I mean, it could do, but...
I think they didn't want to wait. I think they wanted to... Because I think their mentality was when Marvel finishes Infinity War 2, then the superhero thing is going to die off. And I think they wanted in, and they wanted to be able to plan their whole thing while there was hype around it. I think what they didn't realise, though, is that they are as good with their quality of their heroes and more so their villains as Marvel. They could have taken their time and spent this, while Marvel were in phase 3, they could have done their own phase 1 during that period, and then when Marvel haven't got any ammo left in their weapons, could have come out with Batman versus Superman, Justice League, all these kind of things.
I thought it was going to go down to a DC versus Marvel thing. I was looking at them and I was thinking,
imagine? Oh
my god, there'd be jizz everywhere. No, I would hate to end this. It's an amazing era we're going of movies where you get, I mean, starting right from the Spider-Man one, the first Tobey Maguire one, all the way through X-Men.
That was not an amazing era.
No, but it is. It is, because we're getting superhero movies every year, and they can make them as long as they like, because I'm a geek and I'm Scrooge McDuckin in fucking superhero movies. That's going to be a phrase from that one. And I'd hate for them to finish this era without making a decent Batman movie. And I love the Christopher Nolan movies. They're okay. They're good. The Dark Knight is one of my favourite movies of all time, but they've never done Gotham right. I want to see all the different Batman, right? You can't deny that Batman doesn't have the best villains out of all comic book franchises.
It's not even close.
That's so varied and so fucked up in so many different ways. You could have, like, fuck Gotham off, right? Just end it now, right? Because that show pisses me off. Do a Daredevil style Batman series, like
where
none of this.
He's just put the cowl on and he's just learned. Yeah, he's just come back from training.
Have my money. I'll fucking give you my blood. I love for that. That would end it off really well for me. But it's not going to happen because they're spiteful bastards. Anyway, we could talk for days about this, and I've got to get home at some point today. Where do you want to go now? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I reckon we're pretty much wrapped up. I think, have you got a dickhead of the week?
I do. I have two. In fact, two. I know you don't have one, do you?
I don't know. I can pretend that one of yours is mine. Just do that. I'll just pipe in randomly.
They both tie into the same thing. So
crack on. Let's do it.
Which one would you like out of Taylor Swift and Katy Perry?
Oh, Katy Perry all day long.
Okay, so these two are both cunts, right? And I'll say why, right? Okay, rock music, indie music is dead, right? There's nothing amazing coming out, and that I like anyway. You know, I liked Scouting for Girls. I liked fucking
really.
I liked Kaiser Chiefs. I liked Franz Ferdinand, but I also like my metal as well. My Limp Bizkits, my Korn, things like that. That was
the era of music that put me off music.
No, but what I mean is we don't get any of that anymore. We're stuck with these fuckers. Justin Bieber, Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, fucking all these. Oh, it's all dog shit music. Now, like, Taylor Swift and Katy Perry meant to have fallen out a long time ago. I think everybody knows about that. And they both wrote a song about each other. and Taylor Swift wrote that horrible Bad Blood song.
Yeah.
And if you've ever listened to that, it's utter garbage. The lyrics
It's my favourite.
Really?
I bought the single.
Honestly, I could write better lyrics than that was.
Have you ever heard the phrase of if you give enough monkeys typewriters?
Yeah. And I guarantee, right, Bad Blood and whatever Katy Perry came out with, they wrote songs about each other anyway. And whatever songs they made, I bet they had like 17 writers, 8 composers, all sorts of shit, you know. And Meatloaf and Queen and Guns N' Roses used to write songs on their own and perform them by themselves and make masterpieces of music. Well, anyway, this feud is meant to have ended, okay? Lay down your weapons. They're meant to be putting things together and getting a gig. Who gives a shit about these two?
I do. I want, you know how Busted and McFly joined up and did a supergroup tour. I want Tay-Tay and K-Tay.
We were talking about Tekken and Mortal Kombat earlier.
Yeah.
I think we should have. They should make a game at least, just so we can imagine of
you know
Justin Bieber versus fucking.
We will do this, right? In EA UFC 2, you can create your own people, and you can create women ones as well. Should we create Taylor Swift and Katy Perry, and should we do a video? I'll screen cap it.
Yeah.
And should we do a video of Katy Perry and Taylor Swift beating the shit out of each other?
My borderline porn. Oh, I don't know about that.
We can have it where we're not allowed to throw strikes and we just have the ground and pound game.
I'm just saying, like, these fuckers have dragged music down, and I want to get back to days of good bands and good. I know I was mentioning Kaiser Chiefs and things like that, but I liked rock music as well. I like metal. I like my music taste is bipolar. I've got so much different tastes, but Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber do not fall under that category in any way, shape, or form. My little lad loves Despacito. All right, he loves it, absolutely loves it. And you know that's fair enough. But me personally, I like a good band, and it's a case of there's got to be something somewhere that's going to break out and change the world. You know,
I think good music's gone. I mean, I was saying earlier about my nostalgia with games take me back to listening to albums at the same time as games. On my Spotify that I just have all the old music that I used to listen to. Nothing new that grabs me. And what I used to be into was all like Slipknot and Korn and all that kind of heavy metal, and then rap at the same time. I love my hip hop. And there's just, I don't know, I just don't seem... Yeah, see, you're showing me yours at the moment. Mine looks very similar to that.
I've got Foxborough Hot Tubs, Keen, Snow Patrol, Royal Blood, Supergrass, Kaiser Chiefs, Green Day, Dookie, kick-ass album, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stained, The Wombat. I've got such... Stankonia there.
I reckon we should do that. Let's do a video. I'll spend some time this evening creating both of those in EA. In UFC.
We'll do this next time on. Well, I've decided I really like this method of recording our show rather than remotely and having the missing words and shit.
I don't know. Yeah, we might have that. Yeah, still. We have to listen back to it.
And I do want us to get down with some DC animated. So. We should definitely do that at some point, and as well, we promised the viewers before we even started some Mario Kart action. So
we did promise some Mario Kart action. We'll get there once we got all the screen capping shit sorted. We can get some videos out, so we're not just sticking up a thumbnail with the videos. But do you want to wrap it up there because we're getting harassed by dogs because I've just had to let them in.
I just wanted to say that. We are going to be evolving as a show. I keep saying this, but we are going to be looking for a third guest on our show soon.
We've got loads of stuff lined up. It's less looking and more getting it.
It is on our plan.
We know who we're on about, but
we have a model idea. Like last week's show couldn't go ahead because of our scheduling problems. But if we had the third guest, then the other two could have cracked on. But I want to get some guests on the show as well. Garrett and Justin from Garrett and Justin Triggered are going to come on our show once I get our scheduling sorted. So I want to give a big shout out to them, and thanks for being patient with us. And you were going to talk to someone.
Obviously I don't want to say too much because things fall through and whatnot. But no, there's a few people that I know lined up that might be able to give us a lot more in-depth side of, when we started off doing a good hour on Xbox stuff and all the tech side of things. People who might have a bit better, maybe industry knowledge there rather than just fanboying out on what their opinions are. So yeah, okay, well, there are good things to come from Thors-Kin, and thanks for everyone for listening. We will be back next week with a show. I'll have Wi-Fi, so even if I can't get here, we'll do one. So well, keep forgetting as well right at the start to e-beg for likes and subscribes, so make sure you do. Make sure you hit like and
subscribe
and we'll be back next week. See you in a bit, bitches.
See you later, bye. James is gay.
Fuck you.